Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. So earlier this year, in fact August of this year, when I went away to Plymouth, I took a couple of kits with me to build whilst we were hobbying, just in case the weather was bad. And I had partially built this kit. I did do an intro video not long after, but that video now no longer makes any sense because I make reference to one or two things which of course would just confuse the hell out of people now after 3 months. So I thought I'd do a new intro video of this 1/72 Challenger 1 by Revell. So the next part of this video shows the kit built prior to painting it. So here's the Challenger 1 from Revell, 1/72 scale. Quite a nice build. The only issue I had was with the link and length track. Now on the individual links that have to go around the drive sprocket and the idler wheel, what they did was they moulded in like the hinged section, which on the straight sections of track you don't actually see, and this caused some issues with the two pieces of track butting up to each other. So what I did eventually was I cut off the hinges in order that they would butt up better. Once I'd done that, it was fine. Now one of the reasons I built this Challenger 1 is because in the past I had built the Matchbox Challenger 1, and I showed you that on a previous video, and I said at the time that I think you would possibly get a better kit these days than the older Matchbox one, and I just thought we'd do a bit of a quick comparison between the two. So here's the Matchbox and the Revell kits side by side. As you can see, we've got some detail missing on the Matchbox one here where we got the baskets. Now whether that's because the Challenger one initially didn't have those baskets, I'm not sure. I'm guessing that is the case. But if we look at the front of the two tanks or the two kits, the detail is very similar. Bear in mind also that this is 1/76 scale and this is 1/72, so the Matchbox one's slightly smaller. Let's turn them around and have a look at the back. This is the rear of the two kits, and I've got to say that again there isn't much difference. There's a bit more detailing. Actually, even this box here, I was going to say there's a bit more detailing on that, but there isn't. It's got the same amount of detail. So I'm quite surprised that the Matchbox kit does stand up quite well, to be honest. There's some slight differences again. This basket's open on here, whereas it's got them closed on there. But apart from that, I think Matchbox did a decent job. Obviously the detailing standing out a bit more on this because it's been painted and then it's had a panel wash and whatever. So the next time you see the Revell one, which is obviously the point of this video, it will be painted up and hopefully finished. So here she is, guys, completely painted, deckled, sludge washed, weathered. She looks like she could do with a bit of a matte coat with that sheen on her. But it's raining here at the moment, so I thought I'd just get on and do the final part of the video. I've already mentioned some of the issues with the build previously in the video. I don't like painting camo stuff. I've realised I much rather have a one colour vehicle or aircraft rather than have to faff around with various colours. So after I finished building the kit, I gave the kit a spray of Games Workshop's Chaos Black, so it was all over black, and then after that I started painting in the green camouflage. I used Vallejo's 890 refractive green or reflective green. Let's have a couple of coats of that. Once that was done, I gloss varnished it, put the decals on, sealed the decals in and gave the whole vehicle another coat of gloss varnish. Then I put my usual black pastel chalk wash over the whole thing, and then once that was dry, wiped it off, and then it was down to doing some highlighting of the black and the green. So all I did was dry brush the reflective green back over the tank, and then added some yellow, and just kept adding yellow to get lighter highlights on various parts. The black, that was highlighted with Panzer Grey, obviously being quite careful not to overdo it, and that worked quite well. The canvas casing for the barrel, that's just Vallejo's khaki, and then that was washed, not with the black pastel but with Seraphim Sepia from Games Workshop, and then that was highlighted once that was dry with the khaki again, just to give a bit of highlight on the top of the barrel. That's basically it really. I didn't do any of the tools in metals. I didn't. The only thing I did do was the outer part of the track, which are metal, rather than the rubber pads. The outer parts of the track I just used AK's rusted track colour to give them a bit of variation. As I say, I think camo vehicles are a bit of a faff, although they may look better because of the variation in colour rather than just one standard colour. Let me get the Matchbox kit and we'll have them side by side again to just do a quick comparison. So there we go guys, 2 completed builds, and the Matchbox, as you know, was completed some time ago. If I'm honest, I do prefer the Revell, the look of the Revell one. But as we've kind of said in the previous part of this video, the Matchbox doesn't seem to be too bad on detail at all. So that was a real, that was a bit of an eye-opener, I've got to be honest. I thought it would be, the Revell one would be worlds apart from the Matchbox one, but I don't think that is the case at all. Now I've done it, I do prefer the camo pattern on the tank as opposed to the all over desert sand colour. Anyway guys, thanks ever so much for watching. It's Friday, so it's the start of the weekend. I hope you have a cracking weekend and your builds are going well, and I'll catch up with you soon.